Do you guys recognize this young man? You don't, do you? Before we get into the Ryan Davis thing, we going to Ryan Davis right after this. If you are not recognizing this young man, then that means that you are more immersed in what's popular culture as far as the Beyoncés and the Grammys and all of these demonic things that was happening. I heard Sam Smith was out there literally in a demon and a devil costume. We going to tackle that tomorrow because I wanted to make sure that we got the theme together, and we going to absolutely tackle that tomorrow. Shout out to Randy. Randy says, thank you. Thank you, Randy, for holding me down. I appreciate you. I called Randy the other day just to check on her. I said, Randy, what's going on? How you doing, love? Is everything good? Let me give you a little bit of a word that helps you to become a better version of yourself. Ask Randy. Yo, I call and check on my people just randomly. Just randomly, I said, listen, it's something that I got on my mind. I need you to be able to hear this and just take it into consideration. Don't mean that you need to do what I tell you to do, but just hear me out, baby girl. And I had about a 15, 20-minute conversation with Randy, and she was like, I hear you, Anton. With that, with her feminine voice. Anton, I hear you. Randy, no, I love my people. I love my bag chasers. I reach out to them. I really know them in real life. I've met them on multiple different occasions, and I travel to their city. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Jay Hunter Lee says, brother AD, keep it strong for the manosphere. Do y'all consider me a part of the manosphere? I've never even classified myself as anything other than a married man that likes to get to the bag and do the thing that's best for the people. Do y'all consider me a part of the manosphere? Thank you, Jay Hunter Lee. I appreciate you. Yes, I did, Randy. This man's name is, I think his name is Amir Reap. His name is Amir, right? And this man that you're looking at on the screen right now is a former Ohio State. Now, I'm not going to let my bias and being a Michigan man myself, get in the way of what it is that I'm observing with these Ohio State people and these Ohio State former players. But, he wound up testifying at a rape trial, and he had some things to say. Now, I'm going to parse through this, and I need y'all to roll with me on this one, all right? Y'all remember the green pill? Yeah, we green pill on this side. We about our bags. We don't care nothing about that red, blue, black, purple. We don't care nothing about that, right? Let's see what's going on. I want to fill you in because this might have been swept under the rug a little bit. But this man, along with another young man, is being accused of rape. They were kicked off of the Ohio State football team. And this is what's really happening. So let's continue. I want to play this a little bit, and then I want to mine this out for y'all to help y'all to understand what's happening out here in these streets.
Witness testimony has now begun in the trial of two former Ohio State football players. They're accused of raping a woman at their off-campus apartment. That was back in 2020.
The victim in this case took...
Again, a lot of these cases get swept under the rug, and I think this is going to feed into what it is that we wind up talking about with the Ryan Davis situation and a woman that went on Kendra G to try to expose him. But let's continue.
To the stand this morning, and NBC4's Matthew Herchick was there and has the details on a difficult day in the courtroom.
Very emotional testimony in the courtroom this morning. The victim in this case, who we are not identifying, fought through many tears as she detailed what happened on that night 3 years ago. The jury also getting their first look at the video that the victim says she was forced to record after the incident took place. During opening statements, the state's prosecutor, Dan Meyer, revealed a brief history between Amir Reap and the victim. Meyer pointed...
That's the young man, along with another young man that just so happened to be there. That is the young man that is accused of raping this young woman. The woman took the stand. The trial is getting underway. This happened a little over 3 years ago, allegedly, and they are calling her the victim. Let's continue.
Out that the two actually grew up near the same hometown and had exchanged a few messages after she was accepted to Ohio State. Now, according to the prosecution, after making plans to hang out the night of February 4th, 2020, Reap picked the victim up from her dorm and took her back to the apartment he shared with his co-defendant, Jocelyn Went.
So Jocelyn Went and the young man over here, his name is Amir. Hold on, let me just double check. Josh and Amir were both players on Ohio State's football team. Now, you know how I always talk about the need for discipline and how to protect yourself. A couple weeks ago, we did a show on the Lapeef Network where we talked about and I highlighted the importance of men protecting themselves. I might even have to pull up that clip again just to be able to remind y'all, because I seen a lot of people inside of the chat. Let me say it again. A lot of people was inside of the chat saying, Anton, oh, you don't know what you're talking about again. Anton, it's important for you not to even be talking about this because we just normal men and we don't go through this again. Okay. Let's continue.
And the prosecution argues after the two began having consensual sex, the victim told Reap she did not want to continue when he allegedly forced her to continue, with Wendt then later taking part. Now, the state says that Reap then took the victim back to her dorm, and hours later she went to the police. The two turned themselves into police a week later and were kicked off the football team less than 24 hours later.
She sat on the bed expecting to play video games or watch a movie.
Now, they had been kicking it. They had been talking about what it was that they was going to do. He went and picked her up from her dorm room. And this is all what's alleged, right, in prosecution and testimony so far. He went and picked her up from her dorm room. He brought her back to his apartment. She's sitting on his bed, so on and so forth, right? Now, follow me on this. Follow me on this one, right? Because I did a couple different shows, and I said, listen, don't go into any man's apartment or hotel room or anything like that unless you are prepared to have sex. Why even put yourself in that position in the first place? Now, obviously, Anton is not saying that forcing yourself on somebody against somebody else's will is the right thing, because obviously I'm against that. I'm against rape. But I also am against being falsely accused, and I think that it's important for us to look at all of the evidence and all of what's being said in order to make an informed decision, because it is a lot of men that is getting out of jail today as a result of being falsely accused, or the person coming back later and saying, you know what, I was just embarrassed and I didn't want to put myself in a bad position or whatever, so on and so forth. So he goes and he picks her up, right? And then she's sitting on the bed. Now the prosecution is saying, listen, she thought she was just going to go over there to play video games or to watch a movie. Let's continue.
That was her expectation when she went in. Video games, movie, hanging out.
Doesn't lay a hand on her, doesn't rape her, doesn't hold her down, doesn't force her head in the pillow, does none of that. And I'm going to prove it to you.
Now, before Reap took the victim back to her dorm, the state argues that he coerced the victim into recording a video saying that everything was consensual.
Are you hearing what's happening? Even him recording a video in which she said that everything was consensual. Let me say it again, fellas. I'm trying to tell you that it is not safe out here. I know all of y'all on Bumble. I know all of y'all on Tinder. I know all of y'all are doing. Now, that is a key piece of this conversation that I wanted to explain to y'all. I know all of y'all is on Bumble and Tinder. I know y'all just want to bust it down. You believe that it's important for you to bust down as many chicks as you want to and all of this other type of stuff. But I am trying to tell you that no matter what, at all costs, ask yourself this question: is it worth it? Because those dudes are sitting on trial right now, even with recorded video that shows consent from a woman that says that it is consensual, that they have sex. The prosecution is sitting there arguing that, listen, her expectation was never to have sex. She just wanted to come over and play video games. These guys' life is on the line. It's already ruined. They already been kicked off the Ohio State football team. It's evidence already entered into what's going on that shows that everything was consensual based off of the fact that the man recorded her saying that I consent to having sex with you. But they're still on trial. Don't sit here and tell me about how it's not for normal people for you to sign an NDA and for you to be able to record and get consent and so on and so forth. Anybody can say anything, and then they can cry on trial 3 years later and talk about what it is that you did to them regardless. It is so important for men to exercise discipline. And it ain't just because you a square or something like that. It's because we want to save your life. I'm sitting here talking to you, not trying to make sure you the coolest one in the box, because both of those young men look pretty cool. I'm sure they can get any box that they wanted on the Ohio State campus, being Ohio State football players. But guess what? Their life is hanging in the balance from a jury of 12 of possibly or not possibly their peers, depending on who wants to believe all women, despite the fact that a video was recorded in which the woman consented. I'm trying to tell you, is it better to be cool or is it better to have a level of addicted? Man, listen, I have never had a problem. You know why I've never had a problem a day in my life? Is because I am married. I know y'all hate marriage. I know y'all hate the whole idea of it because you don't truly understand how to be successfully married. That's why you need to join the Bag Chasers and be a part of the Patreon so you can make a more informed decision if that's the path that you decide that you want to go down. But I'm trying to tell you that the benefits of being married far outweigh whatever it is that they're telling you in the red pill community. Whatever it is that they're telling you in the manosphere, I'm trying to exhibit to, even if you have a level of discipline, finding yourself behind the scenes or in a spot with a woman that could say that you did something regardless of whether or not you did it or not, puts you behind the 8 ball. You lose your job, you lose your opportunities, you lose the support of the community, you lose everything. And then you got to possibly be on trial, and there's no statute of limitations to civil lawsuits that come along after it. Mike Tyson proved that 30 years later.
The victim says that she only said that so she could get out of there and go home. The defense argues that the video was taken to avoid the situation they're in right now and says Reap voluntarily showed the video to police to try and exonerate them.
Then she came back and said, you know what? I only said it because I felt like going home. I only said it because I felt like going home. This is recorded. Listen, I want to show y'all something because that's literally the end of the video. I want to show y'all something. Watch this. If you think that I'm off, and if I was so off 2 weeks ago, let me tell you how much of a prophet I possibly am. According to the Columbus Dispatch, former Ohio State players testify at the trial that the team told them to record consent. If the teams are telling the players, listen, it's bad out here for y'all, young men. If the teams are telling the young men, it's bad out here for y'all. I know that y'all gonna do whatever it is that y'all want to do, but I'm trying to help you to understand. Make sure you record it. Don't just take their word for granted. Don't just believe everybody. They trying to come up off of you. They see you as a mark. They see you as an opportunity. They see you as whatever. They may have regrets in the morning. They don't want to become the chick that's known on campus as the bust down or whatever. If a team is literally advising them that they have to record consent before they get into it with a chick, they literally recorded consent before they got into it with a chick. And then they're sitting on trial with all of that good hair. Dudes is probably no older than 20, 21 years old. And it's a strong possibility that they can end up on a sex offenders list and convicted for something that they possibly did or didn't do. And I'm not going to say that they did or didn't because I need to see what the results of the trial is. But my point is that these guys are taking all of the precautions and the measures except for exercising a level of discipline. And what no box that good to be able to be sitting on trial, possibly accused. And it's up to her to determine whether or not she want to accuse you. If you're sitting here telling me, that it is not important for you to have a level of discipline, and we're sitting here literally 2 weeks after I had the conversation on the Lapeef Let's Talk show, make sure y'all tune in tonight. It's going to be lit. I promise you it's going to be lit. I'm so tired of seeing dudes in the chat thinking that they too cool for school to protect themselves. Meanwhile, we out here free as a bird, and you're going to be sitting there in a cell, falsely accused, trying to get in touch with the Innocence Project and trying to get Anton to donate to it so we can continue to try to get the lawyers to get you out of jail from being falsely accused. If you are so easily manipulated just because a chick opened her mouth or pulled her pants down, I'm telling you, you're not ready for success. Your character will not keep you to the place that your talent is going to take you. Hear me out and hear me clearly. If you cannot say no to the box, and I don't care how fine she is, I don't care how bad she is. Let's think about this for a second. Let's put it in perspective, and then I want to get to the Ryan Davis thing, okay? You got to go out. You got to meet them. You got to hope that they don't know who you are so that they don't take you for what it is that you want or look to exploit you as a result of then coming up off the clout or trying to take advantage of you financially because you have resources. Because I can tell women are smart. Women are smart. They sharks. So you got to go out. You got to meet her. You got to get her back to the crib. You got to hope that nobody found you or followed you or she didn't set you up like Cardi B admitted to doing and never got canceled or nobody ever said anything about it. That's if you decide to take her back to your crib because now she know where you live. Right? Now you have to protect yourself and your image as a result of it. If you got a relationship, it's a strong possibility you could get caught because it only takes one mistake to put you in that position in the first place. If you don't want to have her sign a non-disclosure agreement, even after she does it, and if she never even wants to put you on criminal charges, it's a possibility she can go off and write a book like Superhit or say anything that she want to say about you. And this also applies to regular guys because let's be clear, you're not just going to be regular for the rest of your life. At some point, the thing that you did in your past is going to uncover itself because there's going to be some clout chaser somewhere that want to come up off your name and they're going to sensationalize the story in order to try to make themselves seem more relevant than they really are because they want their 15 minutes of fame and they want their money. And that's if you don't make them sign a non-disclosure agreement. But then you got to make them sign a consent agreement and you got to have them consent to it on camera because you don't want them to say that they signed it under duress. And then even then, after you overcome the possibility of diseases, pregnancy, possibly getting caught cheating, getting accused or sued or somebody coming up off of your name in order to clout chase, and then the possibility of them being able to say you did something that you didn't want to do in an environment where they're telling you that Me Too works and believe all women, and you willing to take that chance. All so you can get a nut off. Are you telling me that after everything that I just painted for you, and I didn't even paint 50% of it just for the sake of time because I want to get to the Ryan Davis conversation, are you telling me that after all of that, there's a piece of box in this world that's worth it? One piece of box in this world that's worth it. Listen, I'm trying to tell your son. I'm going to clip this part up. I'm trying to tell your son. I'm trying to tell your daddy. I'm trying to tell your brother. I'm trying to tell you. Hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. One of y'all, somebody, hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. You are going to lose everything that you ever worked for just because you could not exercise a level of dick discipline and prevent yourself from even being in that position in the first place. When I'm in corporate America, I do not even go into a room with a woman in the office without first bringing somebody with me, preferably a woman, in order to witness what's going on and what's being said. I take no chances with these women. None. I'm Mike Pence on the beat. They laughed at Mike Pence. You ain't seen Mike Pence get caught up in nothing. You may not like Mike Pence, but I'm going to tell you, Mike Pence was like, listen, I'm not about to get caught up in these streets with these hoes. I'm too swift up on my toes to get caught up with you hoes, suppose. So, do what you want to do. Play it however you want to play it. You can call me a square, but just make sure you call me free. Call me whatever you want, just make sure you call me free. Me and you will not be sitting in a roach-infested and lice-infested jail and you taking prison pictures talking about, yeah, we cooking noodles. No, you cooking noodles. I'm out here working out. You getting built because you ain't got nothing else to do. I'm going to try to get fit because I have so many options to do what I want to do every single day. That's the life I want to live, right? I don't want to live that type of life.